Welcome to Coffee with Patti. I'm so excited to have a really special guest today. His name is Stephen Kim, and he's with Project Kinship. I'm super excited for you to hear his story. I saw him speak a couple years ago at Mayor's Prayer Breakfast in Santa Ana, and I was so touched by your talk, and it stuck with me. And I thought about asking you to come, and you came all the way from Orange County to be here, and so I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you, Patti. I appreciate the invite. I'm super excited, and I'm proud of what you're doing. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So could we start out a little bit with, your childhood and, part of your story, like where you grew up and...
Yeah, sure. Well, I always say I grew up as the only Asian kid in an all Latino neighborhood. And I remember getting picked on every day as a kid.
Every day?
Probably every day. And my parents came here for the American dream from Korea. And they never quite reached the dream that they were looking for. And they worked all the time. And so I was something called a latchkey kid. Are you familiar with latchkey kids? So
you come home on your own after school?
Yeah. So I ate a lot of peanut butter and cup of noodles. And
I hear that.
All day. And slices of cheese and all that. But I was kind of left to fend to figure things out on my own. And I was a chubby kid with the bowl haircut. And I was different than the other kids on that one block. Mm-hmm. And so it was really rough growing up. But I didn't realize it was rough as a kid. I just remember getting beat up, made fun of.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And if anyone knows what it feels like to being picked last on the team.
Yeah.
I was that times 1,000.
Oh, no. Oh.
Yeah. And as a kid, you don't really think about, trauma and pain and risk factors. You just know that something doesn't feel okay.
Right.
So I remember things like one day I was riding my bike and the kids would, for fun, let their dogs out and they were trained to bite. And so in elementary school, so I had a bike and I was riding it, minding my own business, and I see these dogs running towards me. And, I get scared. So I'm riding my bike and then my foot slips and my shin hits the pedal and I fall over and these dogs are like gnawing at me.
What kind of dogs were they?
Big dogs.
Big dogs.
Yeah, because I was probably in third grade. And I remember all the kids just surrounding me, laughing, spitting on me. And
oh, no.
And then they leave and people are walking by. And imagine this chubby Asian kid with the bowl haircut, and just crying. And nobody came.
Nobody came. There was no adults around. Do you have any siblings?
I have a sister.
You have a sister, but she wasn't there.
She wasn't born at that time yet.
Oh, she wasn't born yet. Mm-hmm. Okay, so third grade.
Yeah, adults were walking by, and what I realize now is that for some of us, when we experience childhood trauma, and when you cry out for help and nobody comes, it does something to you.
Yes.
We know now that kids need to be nurtured and cared for. You need protective factors, and you want to bubble wrap your kids in the world to protect them. Mm-hmm. But I didn't grow up like that.
Right.
And so I remember picking myself up after, I'm like, nobody's coming. So I pick myself up and I take my bike home, and that kind of stuff happened all the time.
Did you have wounds? The dogs bit you?
My legs. My legs and stuff, yeah. And
Goodness.
So you just kind of figure out how to navigate the world. And then I remember another time, but something about kids is you still want to fit in. You still want to hang out. So I remember kids would say, let's play tag. And I'd get so excited, but I was always it. And so they'd run and they'd tag you and then they'd start tagging you harder. Nope. And what happens is that as you're trying to get up, they keep tagging you and you start falling down and it gets more violent.
Oh.
And I remember coming home, putting my hands over my back over the welts, thinking I had a good time because I was able to play tag.
Oh.
But what happened is one day the kids in the neighborhood were like, we're going to let you hang out with us. And so, of course, I'm like, yeah, even though all this was happening, they go, do you want to, can go beat up that kid, that new kid?
How old were you at this point?
Probably is under 6th grade.
Okay.
So I'm like, I've never been in a fight. So I go and I hit him and he starts to cry. But then that day, the kids who had bullied me in my mind, this is how I imagined it. I don't think this is what happened, but like they put me on their shoulders and it was like
you were
Rudy
like
or Rocky.
A hero for
like
hurting somebody.
Hero.
Yeah.
In that moment, I realized I never want to be the kid that gets my bike taken. I'd rather be the kid taking the bike. And I learned very early on that you do whatever you do to not be left out.
No.
And so as a kid, I got into a lot of trouble and ended up taking that road of getting into more trouble. That was my early childhood years.
So you were kind of being tortured till 6th grade. And then at 6th grade, something changed by that incident.
Yeah.
And then what happened after that going forward?
Well, after that, it's like I asked my friend, this amazing, brilliant woman who worked on death penalty cases. And I asked her, 2 brothers, one goes to Harvard, one goes to prison, same household. Explain that to me.
Right.
And she's like, she always did this. She's like, I have an answer for you. And she goes, not everyone grows up exactly the same circumstance, but there are common themes. But maybe both kids growing up in certain similar circumstances, they all have their hand out. And maybe for one brother, the first hand he grabbed was a mentor who took him on this trip of learning, how to study, getting into some Boy Scouts and other programs, and that was his route. Maybe the other brother reached out, and the first hand that held him was the gang.
Right.
The first one to give him mentorship, protection, buy him his first pair of shoes so that when he goes to school, nobody makes fun of him. And they give him that, and that's the way he went.
Pays attention to him. Yep.
And so for me, I realized that I just want to stop getting bullied.
Yes, of course. My goodness. Yeah.
And the neighborhood kids grabbed my hand, and we just started hanging out. And there was a bunch of us who grew up just now I know that it was a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, but we found a way to navigate life together. And so I started seeing things, experiencing things that no kid should have to experience. I have a daughter who's 24 now, my son who's 17, and they haven't experienced anything that I've seen, right? Like I want to bubble wrap them. I know you can't do that, but you try the best that you can. So anyways, long story short, we move into the suburbs, and I didn't fit in there either.
Oh.
Because now I was really rough around the edges. I go to the suburbs, and it's like, are you lost?
Oh.
So you have to kind of learn how to navigate that as well. But I think what happened is my childhood trauma had impacted me so much. We know now that the brain, formulates pathways on communicating and surviving, neural pathways and things like that. So I'd already formed these pathways on how to respond to things, but it was all through pain and trauma.
Yeah.
So I started getting a lot of trouble, juvenile hall, and then from there, my mom was like, "You need to go to church." And I'm like, "I'm not."
And what grade's this? How old are you?
Probably like my junior year in high school.
Junior year. Okay.
And I'm like, "I'm not going to church." She goes, "You need to go to church." So I go to this all Korean church, and all my friends are Mexican. So I grew up very blessed to grow up and have been raised in with the Mexican families who've taken me in and shown me a lot of love over the years. And so I actually was like a wannabe Mexican until probably even now. I thought I was Mexican.
So you grew up.
I grew up in the culture.
Do you speak Korean?
A little bit.
Just a little?
A little bit. I know most of the bad words, but yeah.
Yeah. I know 안녕하세요.
Oh, yeah. 안녕하세요. Yeah.
That's the only thing I know.
That's good. So I go to church, and the youth group kids look at me, and I think I was like the youth group project. And they were like taking me in, showing me love, and I kind of liked it. So I started trying to figure out, well, what's this God thing all about? And what I learned from people is I was able to experience God through people's compassion, kindness, and love.
Right.
And so from there, started hanging out. And when they all graduated high school, they were going to these colleges, like Berkeley, UCLA, USC, all these places. But I didn't know how to get into college. And so when I graduated, I'm like, hey, I want to do what you guys are doing. And they were like, did you take your SATs? honestly, I didn't know what the SATs were. And they were like, you don't know what the SAT is? And I was like, I thought it was SAT for Saturday detention.
No, you're kidding.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And they're looking at me like, looking back now, they're probably thinking like, are you a moron?
Oh, no. Because
I don't know.
You didn't go to their school till you were junior in high
I was
school.
just going to the church.
Yeah, just the church.
Church, yeah. It was in Irvine, and a lot of just great kids went there, and some of them were sheltered, and just really great folks who took me in and taught me how to play guitar, and really rubbed off on me, And so I'm like, they go, you need to go to college, junior college. So I go and study my butt off and figure out these study skills. And I get into UCI. Mm-hmm. So that was like my dream school. So I get in there, but there was still something kind of missing for me, and it was my old friends.
Oh.
So I reached out to them because I wanted to help them. And what happened is they were already selling drugs and addicted to drugs. And I had them move in with me. And
into your dorm? Or?
No, into our apartment complex.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, we call him our homeboys. And so he's my homeboy. And so I had him come, and I was trying to help him, but I was just curious on what he was doing in the bathroom all the time. And he was smoking methamphetamines.
Oh, okay.
So I follow him. I go, what are you doing? And he's like, smoking meth. And I'm like, let me try it. And I'm like, he's like, no. I'm like, let me try it. And so he goes, okay. So I try it. And long story short, I get addicted, and in 2 years, kicked out of school, lose my job, and I'm not shopping cart homeless or street homeless, but I'm motel homeless after using 2 years and destroyed my life.
2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do meth the first time, are you addicted? It seems like I heard that.
Yeah, you know what it is? I think it creeps up on you, and for me, people say there's a drug of choice. And so for me, I just remember it just making me feel so like I was in cloud nine. Mm-hmm. It just made me feel so good. And so now I realize, I think it was the right fit for me at that time to ease my depression and my anxiety.
Right. Yeah, because you probably had so much anxiety your whole life, and then you try this, and you're like, wow, I feel good for the first time.
Yeah, it's like I can do anything, and it's just like other people are using, so you're just like having a big party.
Yeah.
Well, then what happens is that, you use Friday, Saturday, and then you're able to get to work on Monday. Then the weekend after, you use it a little bit more. Then you're awake from Friday to Saturday to Sunday.
Oh,
so
wow.
Monday, you're like, I'm not going to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then week after week, then it goes from Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday to Thursday, and life starts falling apart. Mm-hmm. And I destroyed my life in 2 years. Started going in and out of jail. Met my wife now at that time, and she has a history of a lot of challenges as well in her family, and we just it was just a bad scene. I had a baby, and so we were doing so bad at that time. We named her Hope because we didn't have any hope. Mm-hmm. And destroyed my life.
Yeah, I bet. It's just a downward spiral. So what changed?
Yeah.
What helped you? Did anybody help you during the course of this? Did you have did your mom try? I mean, I'm sure she tried, but could anybody get through to you?
I think what happened is we I can share a little bit more about Project Kinship later, but what we realized is that it's not bad people in the world. It's just people make bad choices, but for a lot of folks, just bad things have been done to them, and we haven't been able to heal from it. No. And so we carry all these things, and it comes out in bad behavior, comes out in all these things that if people were well and healed, that would no longer be the case. And so for me, a lot of people tried to help me, but I wasn't able to heal in life. And I didn't know that type of healing was even a thing.
Right.
So I was so addicted, and your life falls apart, and you start losing everything. And by the time you're like motel homeless, you've given up all hope, or mostly all hope. And so for me, I started going in and out of jail, just on the streets, had our daughter, and then finally had a point where I was incarcerated for the last time. Mm-hmm. And I remember my wife coming to see us with our daughter, Hope. And Hope was probably under a year old. And in jail, you can't really touch the person. You got to look through the glass. And I was sobering up, and I remember her saying, I have a surprise for you. And she picks up my daughter, and she's like a little baby, arms dangling, puts her against the glass. She's stuck on the glass. And she's like, we just came to tell you we love you.
Aww.
And
it makes me want to cry.
Yeah. Well, and that was a feeling that I had in there. And you don't want to, probably the last place you want to cry is in jail.
Right.
So
yeah.
I'm like trying not to cry, but like I started like feeling stuff. And I remember going back, I was in a dorm at that time, put the covers over my head, and I just started crying. And I was like, I've destroyed my life. And they call it the jailhouse prayer. Like, oh, everyone prays to God. And I'm a very liberal Christian, actually. And I said, God, I have nothing to offer you, but if you're really out there, could you hook me up? Let me get in the shot, this thing called life. And I go to court, and I get offered a 6-month rehab program. So I go to the Salvation Army, and I finish the program. And my wife stood through me through all of it and supported, and we kept our relationship together and started building up. And I get out of rehab, and now I have 1 felony, and I can't get a job anywhere.
Oh.
So the Salvation Army gave me a trash truck driving job. So I was driving that part-time. And then one of the counselors said, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to school? And I said, I used to go to UCI. And she's like, no, you didn't. I was like, I used to go to UCI. She goes, do you know what that is? I'm like, yeah, I used to go there. So finally she believes me, and we write UCI a letter. And this wonderful woman by the name of Carol Stanley gets the letter, invites me in. And I was really rough around the edges. I go in there, and she goes, looks like you got all Fs and 1 B.
Oh no.
And she goes, I'm going to call you back. And I thought that was, thanks for coming. So she calls back, and she goes, I'm sorry, she sends me a letter back. And it says, based on your recent accomplishments, which is probably rehab, we're going to give you 1 shot to come back.
That is awesome.
So I go. And she goes, you have to take statistics and intro to criminology. And I was like,
oh, God.
I don't even know if my brain works.
All right.
So I'm like, let's do it. And it was a life or death thing for me. Like I had minimal options. So I go, and I actually do well. So I graduate from UCI. And I still couldn't get a job because I had that 1 felony.
Oh.
So.
But you graduated, so congratulations.
Thank you.
That was huge.
Yeah.
How many years were you there?
So I went back and finished in 2 years.
2 years. That's really good.
2 years, 2.5. And then USC came by, UCI on a career day. And they were like, we have a master's program. So I go, well, let's go for that. So I go. And then I finished my master's at USC. And then doors started opening up. I'm a little bit less rough around the edges. I'm starting to heal more. Our family's getting together. And it was hard the whole time, but we stayed together, and we were just fighting. We were trying to fight for a family that we both wanted for ourselves.
That's so commendable. You guys did fantastic.
Well, we just I don't know. It's a blur, right? Thank you. We just wanted to try it out. Let's see what would happen. And we've learned a lot. And so I graduate, and then I have a friend of mine who said, do you want to work on death penalty cases? And I was like,
what did you graduate from? What type of?
For USC, I got my master's in social work.
Social work.
And then UCI was a criminology degree.
Okay.
So then my friend Jesse says, would you like to work on death penalty cases? And I was like, what's that? And so he's like, well, it's helping figure out what happened in the person's life. So we're looking at the trauma. We're looking at 3 generations back on circumstances. So I'm very privileged to work with him on these high-profile death penalty cases all across the nation. And I got to be around some amazing thinkers on what trauma does to us. And so learned about trauma. Then the Orange County Department of Ed, somebody opened the door for me, or I started working in juvenile hall. Then years later, USC allowed me to teach at the School of Social Work.
Really?
So it was cool. Just been a cool journey.
Yeah.
Did all that. And then, so just fast forward, through all of that, I met Father Greg Boyle a long time ago from Homeboy Industries, and I always looked up to them. And I always admired the way they cared for people, especially the marginalized and the abandoned. And I said, one day I'd love to do something like Homeboy Industries. So fast forward all these years later in 2014, got together with some folks and said, let's try to do that in Orange County. And long story short, we took the heartbeat of Homeboy Industries and we consider them great friends and mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And we began to care for people in the way we thought could work. And from there, we grew from 2 staff to today we're at 150 staff.
150. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
36 schools, every unit in juvenile hall. And we're 24/7 at the county jail. About 40% are people are formerly incarcerated.
How many? 40%?
40%
Okay.
that probably would have a hard time getting a job at McDonald's,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're doing great work serving the community.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got clinicians, we've got case managers, and
that's amazing.
It's been cool.
So what happens? What's the process with Project Kinship? When people get out of jail, you're there, or juvenile, you're there?
Yeah, it's kind of all of the above depending on which program it is. So for our school programming, we've got staff in each school site. We're from a couple junior highs, mostly high schools. We have a trained restorative practice worker, which means that they're trained on mediation, social emotional well-being, life skills. So they're trained and they work with kids who usually get kicked out or suspended. And they would help them regulate so that they can go back to class. Some of our schools that have high gang activity, they'd become peacemakers and help them dialogue and also keep schools safe. That's our school program. And we also do home visits and stuff. And then our juvenile hall program, we have a great working relationship with probation where we have a staff who goes into juvenile hall and they're in every unit working with kids individually and in groups. And when you walk out, we have a building now with the county where our team is there so we can get services as they get released.
As they get released.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we're working with them before they get released, and as they get out, we're working with them in the building. And then we have our adult programming, which is a team outside of both county jails. When they come out, they'll see our kiosk so we can help them with things. And then also we go inside the jail, and then we have our home base in Santa Ana, which is a now a 3-story building. And we offer all kinds of services from art, employment, case management, mentorship, all the above. And the funny story is when we first started, I'd drive from building to building asking to rent space, and people would tell us no after they found out what we did.
Oh, really?
So 11 years ago, I finally, at the 4th one, I said, well, we're just an admin building. And we're like, no, people are going to come here. They go, all right. And so we get in this like 2,000 square foot space. We're all crammed in there. And
2,000 square feet.
2,000 square foot space.
That's small.
And we're crammed in there. We're on our best behavior, grew into a couple more spaces, and we became their best tenant. And then we started growing over the years.
You did. That is so amazing.
What's cool is that now in 2025, with our relationship and funders, with county contracts and things, that we're now in a three-story building. I think we're almost at 27,000 square feet, and everyone's coming through the front door.
That's amazing. I'd love to go visit you.
Come through.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
So what was the woman's name that helped you out to get into UCI?
Oh, Carol Stanley.
Do you talk to her still?
Yeah.
Because she was pivotal in your improvement.
Yeah, cool story. After I graduated UCI, we didn't really communicate, but I don't know, it's 20 years later or something. When I was at Project Kinship, one day at Project Kinship, we had some people from UCI come by from her department. And so I said, I remember going to UCI and this lady named Carol Stanley helped me.
Carol Stanley. Yeah.
She goes, she said she knew who she was. And so she had retired. I said, would you connect us? And so she connected us, and we've reconnected, and she came to our grand opening.
Oh,
and
that's
she's
wonderful.
Just been a wonderful friend.
See how one person can make such a big difference?
100%.
Yeah.
She changed the trajectory of my life.
Totally. And thousands of people now because of that. You know, so that's so wonderful. Well, when I met you 2 years ago, when you were talking, I was so touched. And at the very end, I don't know if you remember what you said, but you had hearts in front of everybody's seat. And you said, now get your heart and write 3 words to your younger self. What would your 3 words be to your younger self? Because I don't know if you told us that.
Yeah. I think my 3 words would be, you are loved. And as I grow older, showing love and vulnerability was seen as a weakness. But I felt like in deep suffering, there's deep love. And I've learned to access that and focus on healing and love. And to me, it's been the most powerful thing to transform somebody. And
for sure.
what I realized is that in our work, once you transform, you don't go back. And so I think even though my parents loved me, there you go. It's always good to know.
Mine.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Yeah. So finish your thought and then I'll.
I was going to say, it's just something that I know people feel it sometimes they don't, but people just need to hear it and also know that they're deeply loved.
Yes.
And I think that that transforms people.
Some people never even hear that.
Never hear it.
Yeah. Well, you said
what's on the back of yours?
Well, you said, write down three words to your younger self. And I remember the whole room was really quiet.
Yeah.
So I wrote mine down. And then you said, now go pass it to 5 people. So I'm super social. So I passed mine to like 10 different people. And I ended up getting exactly what I need to know.
Yeah.
Take your time. Lots of life to live.
Yeah. That's right.
And so I had that on my bulletin board for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
And it was so helpful. It was so powerful. So I started doing that. I started getting hearts and having parties and having people do that. And I kind of copied you because I always ask, what would you say to your younger self?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize I got it from you, but I did get that from you.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you saved that. That means so much.
I saved it. It means so much to me.
That's cool.
And my son he wanted to know, he said, what would you have said to yourself when you were at your lowest? What would you want somebody to say to you?
I think for me, the 2 words in the lowest moment is it will get better.
It will get better.
It will get better. And then the one is it's more than 3 words, but I'm here with you.
I'm here with you.
Yeah, I think people need to hear those 2 things.
It will
no
get better.
person should navigate any struggle without knowing somebody walks with them. And then and I think what I'm learning in life is in some of my deepest valleys, even I had an incident during COVID, I kept hearing it will get better. And things do get better.
They do. They either get better or worse.
Better or worse. Better or worse.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So if you, do you have any sayings or anything or Bible verses or that have, what are your main ones that you?
Oh yeah. So I need sayings to remember things. And so I always say connection is the curriculum because people will talk about, hey, what's the curriculum?
Right.
And it's like, how do you, you need curriculum, but without connection, the curriculum is right.
Right.
I also say things like, if you want to heal, you have to feel. I'll say stuff. I got this from Father Greg is, if you don't transform your pain, you'll transmit it. And at Kinship, we started saying this one a lot. It's we don't want to save people because that's for God or the Coast Guards, as Homeboy Industries would say. But we used to say we want to serve and not save because serving equalizes the table and you're able to receive sometimes more than what you give. But we've added 2 more S's this year. So you don't want to save, you want to serve, but you want to stand with people. And we got this because we had a 17-year-old shot and murdered and in our work, and we're at the hospital at 3 a.m. and there's a family in the waiting room. And I remember, we're all waiting in the hallway, and there was these 2 kids. When I say kids, they're probably 18-year-old.
Right.
They had backpacks on, hair neatly combed. They just stood out. And I was like, who are these people? And police officer and doctor goes in to let the family know that the son didn't make it.
Oh, God.
So they run out and they're hysterical. And there's nothing more horrifying than a mother's cry.
Oh, God.
And she's crying. And these 2 kids on cue go up to the family and they're like, I'm so sorry, Kleenex. I'm so sorry, Kleenex. I'm thinking to myself, like, what are you guys doing? And to my surprise, they were taking the Kleenex and they're like, thank you, thank you. So I mean, it's a service that is important because it's been done before. So it made me think about that day. And now here I am in the corner, just like not knowing what to say. And I thought, Steve, you may not need to say much. And what I took from that is you want to serve and not save, but always you want to stand with people. And when you stand with people, you always want to see them. And if people feel seen and stood with, sometimes you don't need words. The words will come after if you're able to know that somebody's right there next to you and they see you for what you're going through.
Right.
Yeah.
To stand with them.
Yeah.
Because there are no words at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So how could we help you with your business?
Yeah, I think
Listeners,
it would be great to help us dismantle the message that folks who have been incarcerated are bad people. You know, I think that I'm reminded that that people are good. It's that people are struggling. Everybody struggles.
everybody is.
The message of seeing folks who experience incarceration, gangs, and violence are people who have experienced significant challenges.
Right.
And I think as a society, we have to remember on how do we help. You know, public safety becomes a thing when people are healed and transformed. So I think it's getting the message out. Give us a like, actually, on Instagram if that's your thing. Yeah, I'm learning that's important. They always tell me to say
helps.
that.
Yeah.
And, we're always, come do a tour with us. You know, I think a tour is important. Come see our work. If there's anyone that feels called to support in any way any of our programmings, we'd love to have you come by and see us to see how we can partner.
I love to give mom hugs. I mean, I always feel so bad for people that never felt love or a hug and gifts at Christmas or Hanukkah or, that type of thing. But we would love to help in any way we can.
Yeah.
And, I think people are so misunderstood. Like so many people, they don't understand. And I saw a documentary on the plane on the way home from Europe the other day. It was about a guy that was on death row. It was a documentary about him. And he had stabbed a man. And the son of the man just could never forgive him. And he ended up getting, he got clemency a few times. And then he finally said, I just want to die. Yeah. But he said he was sorry to the son. And it was just like, he said, yeah, I know I was abused when I was little, but that's no excuse.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done this. And he was sorry for it. And it made me realize everyone, I think it seems around third grade or that age, and you and I had talked about it, it's like if something bad happens to you and no one helps you, it's like, why would you care about anything? I mean, unless you had a enlightenment somehow.
Right.
And so I think people are really misunderstood. Yeah. Especially in jail. And I think there's so many church groups that go to prisons and help people and give them Bibles. And for the first time, somebody's teaching them about love or showing that they matter.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're all connected, and, I actually, over the years, I've learned about love from so many people and have seen so many variations of how that's expressed. And I think what happens is that as people come together, especially at Project Kinship from all different backgrounds, it becomes contagious. It becomes this container of the teacher teaching the teacher, and everybody becomes a student. For example, there's this young girl, Janelle, who, I met her when she was 13 years old. And I walk into the school campus, and it's for a drug and alcohol thing at my other job. And she looks at me, she goes, who the F are you?
Oh, no.
And I was like, I'm pretty good with working with youth. And I'm like, she had wild hair, big t-shirt. And I'm like, I almost said, who the F are you? But I didn't because I'm like, I'm the adult. And so she storms out of the school. And I'm like, is anybody going to stop her? And nobody stops her. So she's like running down the street. I'm like, I got this. So I'm walking after her and I'm like, come over here, I'm cool. And then she looks back and she's like, she flips me off and I'm like,
oh no.
Yeah. So then
what do you ever do to her?
I know. So I'm like, I'm thinking I'm gonna win her over. And then she's like, get away from me, you pervert. I'm like, no, hell no. I'm like, you're on your own. No. I'm like, I'm going back into school. I'm like, she got me. I go,
you're not going back to jail for this.
I'm like, no. I'm like, no way. I'm like, no. I'm like, you're on your own. So the school's laughing at me. I thought you had it under control. And I'm like, right. Yeah. So then I'm like, I
can't even handle her.
In my mind, I'm like, well, I can't help her. A year later, I see her at the continuation school, and I'm shocked because I walk in and she's getting to do her intake, and I'm like, oh my God.
There she is. Oh.
And luckily she goes, what's up, dude? And I was like, oh, thank you, God. I'm like, hey, what's up? How are you? You know, we're talking, and you know, we start working with her. And one day, well, not one day, she wasn't coming to school for a while. So they're like, would your team do a home visit? So we go look for her, and we go to the front door, and we knock on the door, and the family's like, there's nobody here by that name. As we're walking away, they go, oh, you must be here for that dirty family in the back. Oh. So we're like, oh, okay. So I was curious. So we go back, and they're living inside a garage with just horrific conditions. And I call her name out, and she comes out from the curtains, and she's trying to hold every piece of dignity she can and saying, well, first, what are you doing here? And she says, well, welcome to my home. And it dawned on me that at 13 years old, that may do something to her. Right. It's not that her parents don't love her. She just has these challenges. And long story short, we started working with her and got to know her. And she's 21 now, but she's still struggling. Yeah. And we're walking with her, but sometimes I used to ask the question when she started coming to our office. She would come in, and we made her a badge of our honorary PK member. And after trying to live life on her own, she became homeless, and she wouldn't stay in the homes we'd send her to, and all this stuff. But she would come into the office early in the morning, and she would put on her badge, and she would go around to each person in the office asking them how their day was, and she'd give them daily advice on how to have a good day.
Oh, really?
She'd go around. So she's popping around, and she gets to my office, and she says, I would say, how's your day going? And all this stuff. And I'd give her a bus pass or something. And she'd give me this deep wisdom on how to love myself. And so when she walks out, sometimes I wonder who got the better exchange. Her getting the bus pass or me getting these words of wisdom with having all these luxuries in life, navigating life of how I navigate it. Right. And so when I think about these things, we become teachers to each other, and oftentimes the people we serve become our best teachers. And I think that's what draws people in this work. You know, it's this place of where there's deep suffering. If you look close enough, you'll find deeper love. Right.
No, I understand that. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to say?
Last thing I would say is these days I've been thinking about imposter syndrome. Whether you've been formerly incarcerated or, you know, not formerly incarcerated. I started my doctorate back at USC, and you got to write this dissertation. So I'm like, I'm really curious on imposter syndrome. So we'll see if it works.
Imposter syndrome. Okay.
So I started thinking, they asked me the question, well, if you feel imposter syndrome, what are you an imposter to? And I would tell people what I'm learning is to be easy on yourself. And I know now that life is so short. Right. And whether you've been formerly incarcerated or not, whatever background you come from, I've got a wide diverse of friends, and we're too hard on ourselves. And we let things mess us up too much. And I would say, put that to the side. And I would say about, I don't know, five years ago, kind of putting trauma to the side. I've only been focusing on healing. And healing is tough, but I realize that I want to heal because if I heal, I can be free. And if I feel free, it's a good feeling. And the last story I'll share is one day I was going to go to speak on trauma at a conference, and I was walking out of my room, and I walked by my son's room, Noah, and he's 16 now. And I walked down a Saturday morning, he's like sleeping, you know, just like totally knocked out, you know, and I'm like, dude, like, you should wake up. And it dawned on me that he's not like 8 years old anymore. He's like a growing boy. And I was like, oh, the first thought is he's growing. So I get in my car, and I was thinking about him, and I was driving. I got all these tattoos all over my arm. And I was like, you know, Noah's never asked me one time about my tattoos. I thought that was a little weird because, I mean, wouldn't you ask your parents if they had all these tattoos? Like, why'd you get that? That's dumb. What does that mean?
Right. I would definitely ask.
Never asked me. Not one time in 16 years. So I was driving, and the story I told myself is I I think why Noah has never asked me about those tattoos is because he's only seen a version of a father who's healing and healed in some ways. He's never seen the version that my daughter, my family, the community, that my wife has seen. He's only seen a healing and healed version of a father. And I think that's the name of the game for all of us, is to experience that type of freedom, to always never be tied down by the worst thing we've done, but always live in the present and moving towards the future in the best way we can, healing in community and together.
And he's a reminder of that.
He's a reminder of that.
That's really special. Well, I always like to end with what my mother says, and it's, you really are loved just as you are, more than you know. And this was really, really special for me.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. Hopefully one day I'll have my own office podcast and you can come back.
Oh, yeah, it's going to happen. Yeah,
So,
thank you.
So thank you so much.
All right, thank you.